What's going on, everybody? We are back with episode 15 of The Return. Jack and Lockie from the Hardwood Rundown podcast. We out here. We've got our two number one seeds from last year, the Utah Jazz and the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's fucking get into it, Go with the Jazz because they were like the number one seed,
Yeah.
I think, overall last year.
Yeah. Also, just guys, Hardwood Rundown t-shirts. If anyone actually wants a t-shirt, I will order more. And we will sell them. So I don't know. It was actually Lockie's birthday present. Happy birthday, Lockie.
Thanks, bro.
For 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But they finally came, and they're actually pretty lit. So
yeah, I like them.
So what? We're starting with the Jazz.
Yeah.
Very good year. It actually caught me by surprise. How good their year was. They went on like a damn near 20-game win streak or something. I can't even remember. Obviously Spider Mitchell was lit as fuck as always. He's one of the best young players in the league. He can do everything at an elite level. He's a future superstar. He's a superstar for Utah, but as a superstar in the league, say he's probably one. When I think superstar, I think probably LeBron, KD, Giannis, Kawhi, James Harden, and that's about it. I've only got 5. Oh, Seth Curry. So I've only got 6 on the list, probably. But he's a future superstar in this league, and I think he showed it last year. I think I really wanted them to make the finals, and I think they could have made. If they got past the Clippers, they could have definitely made it to the finals. I think they could have beaten Phoenix, but obviously fell short with the Clippers exposing the hell out of Rudy Gobert. I think he's a great rim protector. He's the best defending center in the league. He leads most advanced defensive stats. But defending the perimeter is not good, and he's not agile. He's too slow. He's 7'1", and he just got exposed. And I think that's a big knock on him as a defender. I think a lot of people thought Ben Simmons should have won defensive player of the year, but I think Rudy Gobert was a safe pick. But then obviously just fell apart during the playoffs, just getting exposed by teams because they know that playing 5 out. One, it brings him out of the paint, so it frees up paint play, and he's also too slow to keep up with perimeter players. So I think a lot of teams that was their out by bringing him out to the perimeter, and eventually just got exposed. They had great role players. Royce O'Neal was fantastic at the 4, a 6'4" power forward, unbelievable. Don't know how he was grabbing all those boards, and he was just kind of like the glue guy for that team. Him and Joe Ingles were kind of like the glue guys. Royce O'Neal, Joe Ingles, Bojan Bogdanovic, Jordan Clarkson, Derek Favors even. Great role players. Jordan Clarkson definitely deserved the 6 Man of the Year award. He went absolutely crazy. He was having 40-point games. He was good for my multis. Love that man. Always pick the overs on Jordan Clarkson points. He will always cash. So very good year. I think this year they're the smoky to win. I think they're the sleeper to win it all.
Yeah.
I definitely think they've got all the pieces. They've had a lot of years of experience in the playoffs, and I think Donovan Mitchell's just going to take his game to that next level. And I just think, it's going to be a very good season regardless. I think if they all stay healthy, they have a genuine chance of beating teams like LA, or both LA teams, Phoenix. I can't know. Oh, Denver. So they can compete with the big teams, definitely. And we saw that last year with those win streaks, and obviously falling just short in the playoffs, but a great series against Memphis as well. I've got them winning 55 this year. I think that's around the 55-50 mark is probably the most reasonable mark you can have for a team like Utah. Rising star, I've gone Jordan Clarkson. See, the sneaky star, most improved, and rising stars were very hard to pick because they're a very veteran-based team.
Mm.
So it was kind of hard to pick. Players that were going to really make that jump. And I think the standout one is probably Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson can still have a jump. He can still average 20 points a game. And I think seeing him be more of a playmaker as well, obviously that's not his job, but if he turned into a bit of a playmaker, average like 5 or 6 assists a game, I think his game would make a complete jump to the next level.
Mm.
Most improved and team MVP. Donovan Mitchell, I think he is, like I said before, borderline superstar. He will have an insane year. I don't know. It's just like he gets so into the game. He's very. I love when he trash talks his opponents. It's so good. And he obviously backs it up. Underrated defender. He's a great playmaker, and he's just like he can just catch fire so easily. And I think it's so entertaining to watch, and it just shows how bloody good he is as kind of the leader in Utah. Impact player, I've gone Rudy Gay, not Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gay. I think he'll probably come off the bench, I would say, but he can kind of run that 4 or 5 man, and if teams decide to run 5 out, he's agile enough to defend the 5.
Mm.
And I think that's an impactful thing, having a player that can be a rotational piece on defense and very versatile on offense. You can play in the post, you can pop out for 3, you can finish inside. He can score on all 3 levels, and he's very lanky. He's very long, so being a defender is quite. He's an underrated defender in my opinion, and definitely can be obviously agile enough to defend 4 and 5 if they decide to go 5 out.
Mm.
Sneaky star, and one of the steals of the offseason, in my opinion, Eric Pascal.
Yes.
I think he was a steal. They gave up, a 2nd-round pick?
Yeah.
I think I didn't mention Hassan Whiteside in here, simply because I think when I think sneaky star, I think being able to put up, offensive numbers. Because, things that show up on the stat sheet. Obviously, Hassan Whiteside can be a stat sheet stuffer, but coming off the bench, he's not going to be doing that because Rudy Gobert will be getting the majority of the minutes. Eric Pascal, I think, can come in and easily drop 12 a game, 12 a night, 5 rebounds, 2 or 3 assists. I definitely think he can impact the game in many ways. He's a sneaky star for a reason. He had a great first year in Golden State. Obviously, missed most of last year. But yeah, I have high hopes for him, and I have high hopes for this Utah team, who I think can definitely make the push after a finals drought for a long time. And yeah, I think they're the team to do it this year.
Dang. Yeah, they're when you're talking about the 5 out thing, that's become a really important thing to have. If you can have a guy who can play that 5 out position, and Rudy Gay is definitely that guy, especially when Gobert was even though he kind of got exposed in that Clippers series, when Favors was on the floor, it was even worse because he's even slower, he's not as good as a defender, and he got in foul trouble, and it just opened up the Clipper offense so much more. So having someone like a Rudy Gay who can play that out 5 is so important, and that's the biggest sign that people think coming into this season. I got Jazz. I say 57 to 60 wins. I actually do think they can hit that because based off their previous years, they've been a regular season team. Yeah. They've shined shone in the regular season, and then they come to the playoffs, and it's they're kind of new to it, and they're still trying to figure out things, and there's certain holes that are pretty obvious. But they took a major step last year. Shaq challenged Donovan Mitchell to be you got to be that next. You got to be a winner and stuff like that. And he's bet. Goes out and gets a 52-win season in a 72-game season is really impressive. And I honestly don't, on paper, they don't look like a team that could hit that mark.
Yeah.
we know we've seen what they're capable of. Another year with playoff experience, I truly think they can get to that 60 win spot. Sneaky star. I got Bogdanovic. I just look at him as like a 20-point scorer on a contending team,
Yeah.
which is bigger than people think. But yeah, that was a hard one to pick, obviously, because they're all kind of established. We know what we're going to get out of them. But yeah, that's my sneaky star. Impact player, I got Joe Ingles. Bunch of guys go there. I was actually thinking Royce O'Neal as well. Now that you kind of mentioned that, just his like overall play, especially at 6'4" to play power forward and do such a good job. He's definitely one of those impact players as well. Team MVP, Donovan Mitchell. Man's a like. I wonder where he fits in that shooting guard list, because as you said, it's like he's not there. He's not a superstar in the league yet, but he's a superstar for the Jazz. And I'm wondering, like, where's his ceiling? Like, is he even going to go even further, like hit that 30-point mark? Like, it's so interesting to see where he's going to go. It's like super athletic. I love his, like, he's one of those players where I love his form, his jump shot. It's like my favorite to watch in the league. Yeah, like really athletic, can pass the ball. He came in as like a decent defender, and I guess sometimes he's been exposed a bit, but he still is a good defender. He's one of, like, if he's, I guess, motivated.
He's a big body as well.
Yeah.
He's 215, which is like, compared to Mike Conley, same height, 175. He's like got 40 pounds of Mike Conley.
Yeah.
And like it just shows that he can play with the big boys, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he can definitely bully inside. Like, he's had plenty of those moments. Yeah, so yeah, I think with the Nets, I see them as the only other team that can reach that 60-win season. And the fact that they improved from last year is like so rare for the number one team in the league. Like adding the bench pieces that they added. I'm not sure how Whiteside's going to fit. I'm still excited to see how it's going to work. But they do got to figure out, and this is where Rudy Gay can come in. They got to figure out, when teams go to that 5-out type of offense, they got to know how to combat that. And I think having even Royce O'Neal could even play that, as small as he is. Like, Terrence Mann was playing the center spot, I think, at one spot during this
crazy
series. But yeah, so even Royce O'Neal could play that 5-out spot. So yeah, I think they actually have solved that problem, I guess, on paper going into this season. Yeah, and that was like, again, I want to say shout out to the Clippers for I guess running that, for making that adjustment, because we saw how impactful it was and how it kind of exposed the Jazz. Yeah, so that was good. Good on them. Yeah. And I say, yeah, their regular season team for the past couple of years, I think this can be like truly be the year where they become like a playoff team. I think if they don't make conference finals, it's a bust of a year. They've had so many years leading up to this. They've had a really good core for the past couple of years. They've got their experience in the playoffs,
They've got that. They've just got that team that, they've got that team on paper that's just like, you look at it and you're like, fuck, that's a finals team.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. No, they exactly.
And yeah, you're right. They've been a consistent playoff team for what, 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
Basically. But I think
always competing, yeah.
Always. And I think it's their year. Like, they can, I don't know if they can beat the Nets in like a 7-game series, but still, like, they're definitely a smoky to win. And I think they're very underrated in that aspect. They're a very underrated team. Not a lot of teams talk about Utah.
No.
And that's kind of why it's even more interesting, because it'll start getting people talking about the Utah Jazz. Even when they went on that streak last year, it wasn't like, it's not like people was talking about them all the time. I didn't hear much about Utah, even though they were leading the league in wins.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
that's
go.
me for the Jazz. Let's go to the
Let's go to Lockie's
Sixers.
Sixers. Do you want me to
Oh,
start that, or do you want to start that? I feel like you're waiting for this.
nah, you go.
Okay.
That's so good.
I think Philly had a good year. No, I'm serious. I think they had
No,
a great year.
me too. I do.
I think they had a great year.
Yeah.
And like the Embiid Simmons connection actually like seemed to work. After all these years, but then like it fell apart in the playoffs. Ben Simmons not taking the wide open dunk at the end of the Atlanta game, and then getting kind of semi called out by Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid, who's meant to be your guy. That like unsettles a player, and a player like Ben Simmons, who has a very big ego. That's not good. Um, I think the falling apart in the playoffs kind of put Ben's career on edge. Not edge. Like he's not going to be out of the league, but like people have just said you're not built like that. You're not confident. Like that's fucking shit. Like to hear that. And I'm not being biased because he's an Aussie, but like that's for any player that shit. LeBron gets that all the time.
Yeah.
LeBron's been the best player in the league for damn near 15 years. Like not discrediting anyone else, but like it's almost facts. Seth Curry was probably the best fit they could have had as like that scoring option. Having Embiid and Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris all play down low, which somehow don't know how that works. Not that Ben Simmons play down low, but play it like obviously the front court with a down low front court. Having Seth Curry, Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz, I don't know how to say his name, Tyrese Maxey, Shake Milton as like your off-ball shooters kind of thing. It made them a dangerous team. Matisse Thybulle obviously bringing the intensity on both ends. He was the quiet achiever, and I think he'll always be the quiet achiever for any team. Tobias Harris is a bucket, but kind of being inefficient. Being inefficient for most of his career has been like my one knock on him.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think Tobias Harris is a great NBA player. I just think he's a bit inefficient. He's been inefficient for a while in his career.
Yeah.
I got them winning 50 games, which is weird because I think there's going to be a lot of adversity for that Sixers team. If Ben Simmons is still there by trade deadline, which I think he will be. And I think Ben Simmons is dead serious about this because he does not give a fuck about giving his money to this organization.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm dead serious. I'll give you the money. I'm not playing. Like, I'll just pay you money. I think they can get so many good pieces for him.
Yeah.
It's the thing. The thing is like Ben Simmons. I don't want to delve too much into it because we're going to do a separate episode on this. Ben Simmons is that franchise cornerstone type of player. Like he can be your franchise player regardless of like anything. He's built like that.
Yeah.
Even when he wasn't shooting, he was still the franchise player. Even with Joel there, like honestly, when he started his career, it was like, oh, Ben Simmons is here. It's our franchise. It's like all this. Like he can go, for example, he can go to Minnesota. He can go to Portland. He can go to Cleveland. He can go
Rockets.
to Toronto. He can go to where?
Houston.
He's
linked there,
Sacramento, which is now off the table.
Yeah.
And he'd be the franchise cornerstone. He'd be the guy. Maybe not Portland, but who knows?
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know. I think I could have gone below 50 because I think there'll be a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
But 50, I think is like a safe bet. Rising star, Tyrese Maxey. I think if Simmons leaves, it'll just free up a lot of minutes, and he'll probably pop in as a starting point guard. He's a great scorer. Well, he's a good scorer. He's a good playmaker, and I think he's got a lot of room to grow. He's got a high upside. He reminds me a bit of Shake Milton, who they also have. Kind of just being able to come in and score the rock. He's very crafty as well. Most improved.
Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah.
Bang. I didn't know you went.
Can guard 1 through 4. He's an elite shot blocker. Jump shot blocker. And he's a very underrated, not a scorer, not an underrated scorer, but it's just an underrated bucket. And he's a great facilitator. A lot of work with the Boomers would have helped his progression a lot. I think working with players like Joe Ingles and like obviously Dante Exum and Patty Mills, that kind of helps as well. The confidence of winning bronze carries over to the NBA now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's just a lot of fuel for Matisse Thybulle. Team MVP, Joel Embiid, no questions about it. If he stays healthy, health has been everyone's knock on Joel Embiid for his whole career. And I just think if he has a healthy year, he can win MVP. That's how good he is. But yeah, there's not much I have to say about Embiid. I think everyone knows who he is and what he's like. Impact player, Seth Curry. Said before, I think his impact on offensive end, his impact on the offensive end is second to none. He was dropping consistent 25s a game. I just think he's just like the spark. When you need a bucket, give the ball to Seth Curry and he'll create for you. He's a very good off-ball shooter. He can run the point as well. He's a good playmaker.
Playmaker. Yeah.
Good playmaker. He can score on all 3 levels. And he's a bucket. Sneaky star. It was kind of hard to pick because they have young talent, but it's not like they're stacked with young talent. I've gone Andre Drummond. Which is weird because I think he's obviously an elite rebounder. I think being off the bench behind Joel is a good fit. And kind of allowing as well Embiid to rest and he can just fill the void. If Embiid's injured, he's not a bad center to have as your starting center.
Yeah.
I think he'll be good off the bench. He'll be a lot better than having Dwight there, I think, because he's a low post threat as well. And he's really good in the pick and roll. So I think he'll have a lot more impact. I didn't want to say impact player because I don't think it's minute dependent. Whereas Seth Curry, I just think he's a bucket. Andre Drummond, sneaky star. He's going to come out of nowhere. People won't really expect anything from him, and I think he'll produce some good numbers and really affect the team's success this season. So that is me for the Sixers. I'm very excited to hear what Lockie has to say.
I got this jersey from my girlfriend for my birthday.
Shout out.
I was so happy. Nah, this is mean, but I was so happy it wasn't a Simmons jersey.
No. She asked me too. She's like, should I get a Simmons jersey? I was like, don't get a Simmons jersey.
Okay, don't get me wrong. He's still one of my favorite players in the league. I love watching him play. Yeah, that's what I feel about that. He's a mini. He deserves that from a physical aspect. He deserves that mini LeBron type of comparison, right?
He's big LeBron. He's like 6'11".
Yeah.
Man,
I guess yeah. And the only thing he's lacking is I guess that intensity. We'll talk about that in another episode, Doug. Yeah,
it's hard to not talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, Sixers. A team who have recently migrated to, sorry Sacramento, but you guys suck. So I'm moving to the Sixers. I'm a big fan of Ben and I love Tobias Harris. I've loved him for like his whole career when he was with the Magic and with the Clippers. Obviously Matisse Thybulle, the GOAT.
The hero of our show.
Yeah, the fucking man. Imagine getting him on for an episode. Oh, stop it.
Do you want me to ask?
Yeah.
I got some connects.
Yeah. So, 50 wins. I say the same. I'm worried about, camaraderie issues as well. But at the same time, they're still a regular season team who have proven over the past couple of years that they're a top 3 team. And I don't think they'll fall out of that top 3, seed. If anyone in that top 3 though, they will be the team to fall. I think they could go from the 1st seed to maybe the 2nd or 3rd. especially with Nets and Bucks. Especially with Nets probably having a huge season. Sneaky star, I've got Seth Curry, based off the fact that he's a bucket and I want him to get a bit more ball this year. I feel like having they've had like a big guy at point guard, Ben Simmons, and you know what you're going to get from him. He's going to attack the rim, right? But if you've got a guy like Seth Curry who can operate, on the outside and be a threat there, it opens up your offense a bit more. You can even use Simmons as like a cutter. And if Matisse is on the floor, use him as a cutter. And you've still got shooters like Korkmaz, Tobias Harris, Shake Milton. Like, you still got shooters around. But with that, I think giving Seth a bit more ball, it opens up Simmons for more cuts and even Embiid for more, kind of like dump offs and like pick and roll action, which I know isn't really his game, but it just, again, you're adding a bit more of a variety to your offense. Seth Curry for that sneaky star. I got impact player. I got Ben Simmons because of what he can do all around the court. But I do have Matisse Thybulle. We know what he does. Don't need to say anything more about it. I hope he gets more minutes this year.
Love that, man.
He can potentially play that stretch four.
If they wanted to run like a small ball lineup.
Yeah, he can definitely play that. And I just want a bit more improved shooting and scoring. I want him to back himself more. It's a hard thing to do when you've got so many scorers around you, but I'd love to just see him take that next step for his offense, because he got second team all defense last year. It's funny, the Sixers had 3 all team defense selections last year: Embiid, Simmons, and Thybulle. Like, that's ridiculous. And that's where he gets his impact from.
And they couldn't defend Atlanta.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trae Young.
That was, I understand. We have so many defenders to throw at Trae Young. And Danny Green as well. Oh, fuck. Team MVP, Joel Embiid, the heart and soul, I think of the Sixers. Very entertaining to watch. 27 plus point, like, big man. Can really do everything. We know him. Rising star, I got Tyrese Maxey. With a Simmons trade, he could potentially be a sneaky star or have like a big year. But just based off what I've seen from him last year, he's like a really athletic guard, like combo guard who can shoot, a really good slasher, and he has a lot of energy defensively. He has everything going for him. So him and Thybulle are the 2 guys that the Sixers need to keep no matter what trade things come up. Not no matter what. Obviously, there's some players that you need to just pull the trigger on if in a trade situation. But those 2 guys, I want to see them grow with this team and coming in at similar times. They definitely have that. They'll definitely have that connection together as those like young pieces on this fairly veteran team.
Yeah.
I see. I'm really excited to watch the Sixers this year. I always am. They have a lot to be excited about. On paper, they just have so much to be happy about. Like, they got defenders at all positions. They got shooters. Like Tobias Harris is still up there as a really good scorer. He's a really good locker room presence, a decent defender, better than people think, and someone who can post up as well. Like, he's got a lot of great, perks about his game. But only adding Drummond in the offseason and not trading Simmons yet means that their spot in the top 3 could be jeopardized. They've had enough experience in the playoffs over these past couple of years. They need to become a playoff team already. It's time. If anything, it's after this Simmons trade happens, or if Simmons shows a bit more motivation improvement. We'll see.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but they are still one of the best. They're still a top 10 team in the league, easy. Yeah, so the future is interesting. They've come to a head. Like the process is like it hasn't failed yet completely because it's hard to put a measurement on that. But yeah, I think they can only contend once Simmons. It's based off what happens with Ben Simmons, whether he improves or whether they trade him. They can only contend when that happens.
I'm
what are you doing?
Sorry.
But yeah, I really am excited to watch them this year. Yeah, we'll see. That's the end of the return. Yeah, man, I really like doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I know Jack enjoyed.
We've loved doing this. We've loved doing this series. I don't know why. It's just like awesome. Being able to talk about the teams and what our expectations are. Not that we have much. What's the word? Reputation to say stuff like that. But we like talking about it.
I like to dabble, yeah.
And we hope you guys enjoyed it too. Let us know what you want to see from us. We're still trying to come up with a name for our new season. Basically, it's going to be like the preseason series. If you have any ideas on that, let us know. Ben Simmons episode. We'll talk a bit of John Wall requesting the trade. Dame as well. We're going to be doing season predictions. Well, award predictions. Breakout players. Playoff seeding. Everything you would expect from a kind of preseason series. So, be look forward to that. Any final thoughts, Locke?
No, that's good. Let's go. Like I'm really happy with how we've done this, and thank you everyone, obviously, for the support. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep grinding. We're so excited for this season, and so thank you for.
It's gonna be one of the best seasons yet.
You reckon?
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on. A lot of exciting teams.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
Stick around, guys. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Follow our socials. And yeah, you watch the final episode of The Return. We out. Also, if you want the shirt,
let us know.
We'll be doing it at some point. Let's go.